The people who may decide this election are prioritizing stimulus checks over the Supreme Court, over democracy, over civil rights, and so on. In this video, I'll break down why these two seemingly unrelated issues, your wallet and your rights, are more connected than you might think. So stay with me. Stay right here. Don't go anywhere, because what's at stake in this election could change the course of our lives for decades. Stay with me. Thank you for staying with me, and as always, I invite you to visit Amazon.com to grab a copy of my book, Education and Justice, if you have an African-American son in public school. Here's why. Public schools are flat out failing our black boys. But we don't have to accept it. In my book, I uncover the deep-rooted issues and provide solutions to empower parents just like you to take action. So don't wait. Visit Amazon.com today and get your copy of my book to start making a difference in your child's education and in his future. Now, let's get to this. After defending our democracy from Trump and MAGA, picking the next Supreme Court justice is probably the most important issue black voters face right now. SCOTUS has an outsized impact on all of our lives, but it especially affects black folks. Time and time again, this court has shown its willingness to weaken or outright gut civil rights protection. Think about the Shelby County versus Holder case. That case effectively gutted the Voting Rights Act, which was one of the most important civil rights act ever passed. And since then, voter suppression laws have increased through the roof in states with large black populations like Texas, Florida, North Carolina, and so on. And now with 6 conservative justices on the bench, the threat to our civil rights is even greater, especially with the lasting influence of Trump's appointees. This term, for example, the court is hearing cases about employment discrimination and environmental protections and other issues. But they also refuse to hear a death penalty case involving a black man where prosecutors struck every single black juror. That case, like so many others, show us how deeply race still influences the criminal justice system, even in capital cases where someone's life is on the line. Next term, the court will hear even more cases that directly affect black lives. And in the coming decades, SCOTUS will have the chance to roll back civil rights laws, voting rights laws, and even constitutional amendments, especially those hard-fought gains from the civil rights movement. We're talking about the very laws that protect us from racial discrimination in employment, in housing, in voting, and so on. That's why the next president is so critical. Whoever's elected, everybody, will likely appoint at least 1, maybe 2, or even more justices, because Justice Sotomayor is already one of the older members of the court, and she faces health issues. Justice Clarence Thomas and Samuel Alito are also in their mid-70s, which means retirement is possible. And as we saw with Justice Scalia, unexpected deaths can shift the balance of the court in an instant, just that fast. But here's an even bigger issue at play. The Electoral College. Remember, in 2016, Trump lost the popular vote by almost 3 million votes, but still won the presidency? Because of the Electoral College, one of the major reasons he won is that black voter turnout dramatically decreased, especially in those swing states, states like Michigan, Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, and so on. That gave Trump the power to appoint 3 justices, Gorsuch, Kavanaugh, Barrett, each of whom has moved the court significantly to the right. Now, once again, this election will come down to swing states. And once again, black voters are still a major force in many of these states. states like Georgia and Michigan. If we don't turn out in huge numbers, we could see history repeat itself. If you're unclear on how the Electoral College works, check out my recent video where I broke it down for you. Here's the kicker, though. There are black men who are more focused on things like stimulus checks and short-term economic gains. These black men support Trump, and they couldn't care less about SCOTUS, about democracy, or Project 2025. And if enough of them turn out, they could easily tilt this election in Trump's favor. So I want you to watch this video, and you'll see what I mean.
Given that Donald Trump, Kamala Harris are virtually neck and neck, tied at 49% in the local polls, you could very well say that black people could decide the next president of the United States of America. So why don't we go in the streets and talk to them directly, see what they think. Y'all ready?
Trump, Donald Trump, that's what I like. Because Donald Trump done gave out more money than any president we ever had.
America, y'all check this out, right? And they're doing this thing right here. I ain't voting for Kamala Harris. Not for what she did with Biden, but what she's going to do for us tomorrow.
I ain't never know nobody, now president done gave me more money than Trump. I'm 64 years old, so, I like Trump.
A lot of people like to say Trump's a racist. You don't think he's racist?
Man, it is what it is with me. I don't know, I don't know that man, so if he is, I don't give a shit,
Kamala Harris is the selection right now for the Democratic Party, but
Yes.
she wasn't democratically nominated.
She put herself in position where she need to be at. I would take Kamala Harris.
Yeah.
Donald Trump, I ain't got nothing against this man. Nothing at all. Shit, I'm trying to ask for some money.
But I still mess with Trump, because Trump put money in my pocket.
I say Donald Trump only because Donald Trump the only president that ever gave citizens something. That was a stimulus. That's the only president that we've ever had that actually gave the people something. So it really don't matter who wins if it's not a stimulus in it.
Enjoy that fried shrimp.
Yes, sir. Y'all have a nice day.
All right, buddy.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I have to go with Trump.
Donald Trump, because he's for the people, he helped the people, and he's very good businessman, and I think he helped out with the economy. Donald Trump brings more money to the money, like he said, make America great. And he's trying to improve America again.
He makes a lot of people mad. A
Yeah.
lot of people say he's a racist.
No.
You don't think he's a racist?
No, sir. No, sir. No, sir.
You see, we can't just ignore these brothers. Sure, some of them can't vote, but a lot of them can and will. The poverty these men experience is real. It's generational poverty that's deeply rooted in a legacy of systemic oppression. I know this because I grew up in poverty too, but by the grace of God, I made it out. I understand how easily I could be exactly where they are today. In fact, I'll be releasing a video soon sharing my personal story and how God took me from that poverty to a much better life. So no, I don't look down on them, and you shouldn't. I just strongly disagree with the ideal that a white supremacist like Trump is the answer to black poverty. And it's not just the brothers from the streets leaning toward Trump. I recently critiqued a video of some educated black men arguing that the economy was much better under Trump. Of course now, they overlooked the fact that Trump inherited a strong economy from Obama. In fact, it was the longest streak of job growth in U.S. history. And then Trump mishandled the COVID pandemic that so badly tanked the economy, it caused unemployment and inflation to skyrocket. The pandemic wasn't just an oops moment for Trump. It was a full-blown disaster that he could have handled much, much better. And so Biden and Kamala had to come in and clean up Trump's mess, the mess he left behind. So here's the bottom line. We need to turn out and vote overwhelmingly for Kamala Harris. Now, I get it. Kamala might not be your ideal candidate. Maybe you blame her for the border crisis, although it was Trump who blocked the bipartisan border bill. Or maybe like Killer Mike, you don't want to vote for Kamala simply because she's a prosecutor. Watch this video of Killer Mike.
You're a big reason I would never vote for a prosecutor, because you were a fucking prosecutor. That's it. If you were a prosecutor, you were just on the wrong side. So as for me and my household, we vote for defenders, we vote for public service, but we don't vote for prosecutors because I know you've been a part of the system that's already fucked me over. Why would I vote?
But listen, if Killer Mike is okay with voting for a white supremacist insurrectionist who's been indicted on 91 criminal charges and convicted on 34 of them, then that's up to him. That's his business, right? But we can't afford to make the same mistake we made in 2016. And here's some more reality. If Kamala is elected, she's going to need at least 60 senators to support her Supreme Court nominees. You may say, why? Well, because the Senate has to confirm the justices that she chooses. But if the GOP controls the Senate, they will block every single one of her picks unless she nominates someone they approve of. To break through that gridlock, she needs a supermajority of 60 senators. Now, there's another option. If she gets elected, if she can get 50 senators on board who are willing to change the filibuster rules, she could confirm her justice selections with a simple 51 majority vote. She's already shown willingness to do so. So this is definitely a possibility. Folks, whatever you do, don't forget how critical the Supreme Court is in this election. Again, you black men who don't like Kamala, okay, all right. But we're not just voting for the next president. We're voting for the future of our children, for the future of civil rights in this country. And that's a fight we can't afford to lose. So as I've covered today, the stakes in this election couldn't be higher. It's not just about stimulus checks or short-term economic gains. Again, I understand your frustration, but this is also about who will shape our future, who will shape our democracy, whether we have a democracy, who will control the Supreme Court for generations to come. Listen, we must vote in record numbers so that we have a voice in this matter. We can't afford to sit on the sidelines and vote the couch. We have to keep our eyes on the bigger picture and understand that while poverty is a reality for many, turning to someone like Trump who promotes white supremacy is not the answer to lift our communities out of poverty. We need leadership that's committed to true progress and justice. I believe that's Kamala Harris. At the end of the day, our voices, our votes, and our values matter. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise. Let's stay focused, let's stay engaged, and let's vote for a future that will uplift, protect, and empower our community. Because at the end of the day, our fight is against white supremacy. Never forget that. Never forget that. Never forget that. And as Nellie Fuller said, if you don't understand white supremacy and how it works, what you think you know will confuse you. I am Attorney Augustus Corbett, one half of the Defiant Lawyers. This is the content that we bring you on a weekly basis. Until the next time, peace.